Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking maximising the potential of your vitamin C. I'm going to give you some advanced vitamin C techniques and hacks, things that you can do to really maximise the benefit that you're getting from your vitamin C. We've got to talk about the different forms of vitamin C, how you can incorporate it best into your routine to get maximum potency from the product, and of course, at the end of the video, I'll be giving you some of my favourite recommendations. So, if you're interested in finding out more, keep on watching. So I wanted to sit down and film this video because whilst most people have a vitamin C in their skincare routine at some point, it became one of those massive, viral hit sensation ingredients around 3 years ago, and since then I think most people have incorporated it into their routine. However, not everybody is using it correctly to maximise the benefits, which we all know as brightening the skin, getting rid of that dull complexion that we can all suffer with at some point, evening out our skin tone, eating away at those areas of hyperpigmentation and help fade dark spots, and also as a fantastic antioxidant. We know the benefits, but are we maximising them? So I'm going to give you some hints, tips and hacks on how you can get the most out of the vitamin C you're already using, and these are the advanced hacks. So if you haven't already incorporated a vitamin C into your routine, I suggest you check out a video I did on how to best do that, which I'll leave a link to up there. Check that out, and then of course you can incorporate it and then move on to these hacks at a later date. So let's jump straight on in. My hack number one is make sure that you're using the right type of vitamin C for your skin type. Now of course this sounds really basic, and when we talk about advanced hacks, I guess a lot of you thinking, why are we starting with this one? This seems quite basic. But actually, at its basis, if you're using an incorrect form of vitamin C for what you're trying to get out of the product, you're obviously not going to maximize the benefits. Not a lot of people understand that vitamin C comes in two forms. Its pure form, L-ascorbic acid, and its derivative form, which usually comes things like tetraisopalmitates and things like that. The pure form vitamin C, the L-ascorbic acid and ascorbic acids, are the highest strength. They're the maximum potency, highest strength, but with them, because they tend to be formulated in a lower pH, comes sensitivity, redness, irritation, particularly if you already have built-in sensitivity in your skin. When it comes to the derivatives, they work at a much more skin neutral pH, and so you don't tend to get that stinging, that prickling, and that irritation when you use them. Some of them are a little bit slower to act in terms of the results that you can expect from them, but they're much easier to incorporate in your skincare routine because you can use them alongside peptides, retinols, niacinamides, everything, whereas you have to be a little bit more cautious when you're using low pH pure form L-ascorbic acids. I actually did a whole video on vitamin C derivatives, which I'll link up there. Check that out if you want to know a little bit more about them. I'd say work out which is the best vitamin C type for you. If you want maximum efficacy, you want those results and you want them quick, then going for a pure form vitamin C is probably the best option. However, that isn't something I'd recommend if you're prone to any sensitivity, redness or irritation, because that's going to flare up and actually could end up with some quite significant side effects. So for most people, I usually say go for a vitamin C derivative, easier to incorporate in your routine. You don't have to think about where you place it in the same way you do a pure form L-ascorbic acid, and you don't get any of those side effects. It's just a more pleasant product and ingredient to use. You wait a little bit longer for those results, but trust me, it is definitely worth it. So I would encourage everybody to check out that video I did on vitamin C derivatives and work out whether maybe making the switch is the right thing for you. Hack number two concerns the strength of the product. I would always recommend, if you're going to opt for a pure form L-ascorbic or ascorbic acid, you're better going for one of the highest strengths, because you should only be choosing that form of vitamin C if you have very robust skin anyway. The concentrations do vary from lows at 5% up through to around 30%. If you're opting for a pure form L-ascorbic acid, then I would probably recommend reaching for one of the highest strength ones because your skin will be able to tolerate it. For everyone else, then obviously a vitamin C derivative in one of the lower strengths would be a preferable option, and I've got plenty to choose from later on in the video. Now, my hack number three is to make sure you give enough time for the product to sink in and synergize with the skin before you step out the door. That's because vitamin C is very much impacted by light. So if you apply it to the skin and then walk straight out the door, you could be removing some of the efficacy of the product when it comes into contact with light. So what I'd recommend doing is applying it and then waiting 20 minutes before you then walk out the door. So allow yourself that time for the product to be fully absorbed into the skin, to allow it to increase its synergy with the skin and make sure it's at maximum efficacy throughout the day. Of course, it's an antioxidant, so when it does come into light, it will start to work to prevent the damage from free radicals and UV radiation, which is absolutely fantastic, but you need to bear in mind that it has to have time to work with the skin, to sink in and be fully absorbed before you do that. The 20-minute rule isn't hard and fast. Some people suggest less than that, but my general recommendation with all skincare and sunscreens is you apply it 20 minutes before you leave the door to allow your skin to adapt to it and give you that maximum protection and benefit from the product. products. My technique number 4 would be to stop relying on vitamin C for pigmentation. Now, this might come as a little bit of a shock to people because when we talk about hyperpigmentation, uneven skin tone, dark spots, people automatically go towards vitamin C. It's got a proven benefit for reducing the amount of pigmentation that pools in certain areas of the skin, so it can be really beneficial for evening out the skin tone and supporting the eradication of hyperpigmentation. However, there are so many other amazing ingredients on the market that you can use if your primary skin concern is hyperpigmentation. So for people that always reach for the vitamin C as like the go-to for hyperpigmentation, they usually end up disappointed because it's not the most potent ingredient you can include in your skincare routine to tackle that specific concern. So what I'd say is yes to vitamin C for an overall brightening of the skin's complexion, yes to vitamin C for helping even out the skin tone. But if you are relying on it to tackle your hyperpigmentation, you will be disappointed, and you should include some other ingredients in your routine alongside the vitamin C to just up the ante a little bit. Vitamin C works really well with tranexamic acid, which is fantastic at tackling excess pigment in the skin. Also works really well with alpha-arbutin, which is another precursor to hydroquinone, so a much more gentle pigment corrector. Both of these work really well with vitamin C, so I'd say if hyperpigmentation is the reason you're reaching for a vitamin C, take the vitamin C, but also add in either a tranexamic acid or an alpha-arbutin. Both are super affordable, and there's great drugstore options from both the ordinary and the Incalist. Add them to your routine alongside the vitamin C, and it'll just give you those results quicker and, of course, improve the results when they do arrive. Now, finally, hack number 5 is fresher is always better. When it comes to vitamin C, it oxidizes really quickly. So vitamin C is an inherently unstable molecule, and so when it's in water in particular, it can oxidize really quickly. Oxidation is when it comes into contact with oxygen, and it denatures the vitamin C. So it stops its antioxidant potential and prevents some of the great results you can get from using that vitamin C. So I always suggest to people, first of all, to make sure you keep your pure form vitamin C's, l-ascorbic acids and ascorbic acids in the fridge. This way it'll slow down the oxidation process, and so you'll get a better shelf life from your product. Also, make sure that you're buying from a brand which you know has a really quick turnaround of some of these products. So you don't want your vitamin C to be sitting on a warehouse, sitting on a shelf, gathering dust somewhere for years and years and years before it gets into your skincare collection. Because as it's on that warehouse shelf, it's oxidizing and it's slowly and gradually losing its potency and efficacy. So when it comes to vitamin C, pure form, L-ascorbic acid and ascorbic acid, fresh is always best. Now I'm going to be coming on to a product recommendation in a minute, which is guaranteed freshness. So you know if you want to buy a pure form vitamin C, you're getting fresh every single time. When it comes to derivatives, it doesn't matter as much. I still keep them in the fridge because I think that's just a good habit to get into, but you don't need to keep them because they're much more stable and they won't oxidize in the same way that pure form vitamin C will. Now, let's jump into the recommendations. This is the bit you've all been waiting for, gagged, ready and waiting for, which is the recommendations for the best vitamin C's. I'm going to start with derivatives because that's my preferred method. I think slowly, less conflicts with less other products in your routine and doesn't give the same levels of sensitivity and side effects. So I usually do reach for a vitamin C derivative. My go-to at the moment and total holy grail is the ordinary ascorbyl tetroisopalmitate solution in vitamin F. I've left a link to this and all of the other products I mentioned in the description box below, so you don't need to remember how to Google that name. You can just click on it below and it'll take you through to where you can purchase it if you want to, or if you want to read up a little bit more about the ingredients and how it works. Click on that link below. So this works so well because A, it's a derivative of vitamin C and it's a high strength derivative. So you're not losing a lot of the potency in terms of the product by switching to a derivative, but also you don't get some of that low pH which is associated with the stinging, the prickling and the sensitivity. I also love it because it's in an oil base, so it's much more hydrating than what you would get from other forms of vitamin C. It doesn't clog my pores, it doesn't leave me dry like some vitamin C's can. Leave me a comment below if you've ever found your vitamin C to be one of the most drying aspects of your skincare routine. This won't dry you out, it will actually add hydration, so it's fantastic for people with drier skin types. Also, it's super flexible. You can add it pretty much anywhere towards the end of your skincare routine. Use your water-based serums first, then add this. You can also add a couple of drops to your favorite moisturiser, which will help it absorb even better, particularly on oily skin, and it's just a super affordable, flexible product that I'd highly recommend. I've been using it for the past 6 months and my skin is not only more hydrated, but I've had a noticeable evening out of the skin tone. I just think my skin feels brighter for using it, which can only be a good thing. So definitely say don't spend too much, reach for this one. Super affordable, great drugstore pricing and works really well. For those of you that want to stick with a pure form vitamin C, and whilst I go for derivatives, there's certainly nothing wrong with pure form vitamin Cs. There's actually only two I'll recommend, and I'll go through later why I would recommend these over any of the others. First of all, I'm going to talk about the NIOD ethylated ascorbic acid network. So this ELAN for short is a really high performance pure form vitamin C. Because of the delivery formulation, the way that it delivers the vitamin C into the skin and delivers the activity that's needed to give that brightening and that pigment correction, this actually proves that the difference between 20 and 30% in this product is huge, and you'll get really quick results from this. There is some element of sensitivity, prickling and irritation you'll get from including this in your routine, but the results are some of the quickest that I've ever seen. So if you're somebody that's after those quick wins, this is a really great product. It's NIOD, so it's up there in price, but I do love it. It's cruelty free, it's formulated to perfection, and it's definitely delivering above and beyond what another pure form vitamin C at the same concentration would deliver. So it's definitely worth the investment if you are hard and fast committed to vitamin C's. If you want to go for a cheaper option, my second recommendation would be the C Glow by Geek and Gorgeous. I love Geek and Gorgeous as a brand. They're a fantastic Hungarian brand, cruelty-free and really affordable for the formulations you get. Why I'm recommending this, again, it's a slightly higher percentage than I would normally go for, but I'm making the exception for this because it's made fresh in batches every single week. So when you order this product, you know that your product, once it was shipped, is no older than 1 week old. With other products, you have no idea how long they've been sitting on shelves for in warehouses. With this product, you know maximum time it's been on that shelf is 1 week, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Sometimes that can delay the shipping slightly because obviously they make it in batches, but I think it's definitely worth this because you keep this in the fridge, you can almost guarantee that it'll arrive, there won't be any oxidization, you keep it in the fridge, and you can use the whole product up without risking it turning a little bit funky in terms of the smell and that orangey colour, which is showing that it's oxidizing. Of all the pure form vitamin C's, I think this is the best to go for if you want a high strength, high potency, but low oxidization rate product. I definitely would recommend it. So guys, leave me a comment below. Are you a vitamin C convert, or are you one of these people when they're increasing in number that are actually moving away from vitamin C's? I think there's a lot of people saying actually if you've got an antioxidant such as the NIOD Survival or a Q10 serum in your routine already, you don't need a vitamin C for that. A lot of people are reaching for things like tranexamic acid, alpha-arbutin, the repigment solution for their hyperpigmentation, and so they don't really need a vitamin C for that. So increasingly I see people moving away from vitamin C and adding other ingredients into their routine instead. This all comes down to personal preference. You don't have to have a vitamin C in your routine, but hopefully with these hints, tips and hacks, if you do include one, you're going to be getting the maximum benefit from whichever one you choose. I hope you found this video useful. Leave me a comment on your thoughts on vitamin C's and any that you use. Wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.